These men had been so intent on disarming him, they'd failed to do the same with Nat. Her sweet-talking, innocent disguise had fooled them into thinking she wasn't a threat. Taylor and Creed stood, mouths agape, and watched as Nat took aim a second time. Rolling over, Griff caught Creed's legs in a scissor grip with his own and jerked backwards. The man was pulled off balance and started to fall forward. He tried to save himself and overcompensated, twisting around. His forehead hit the edge of the barrier, which sliced through the skin to the skull. Creed bounced off and landed on the grass along the road's edge, unmoving. The man had barely gone down when Griff completed his roll and staggered to his feet. Taylor remained in semi-shock as he watched his two buddies being decimated. Seeing Griff coming after him, he bounced on the balls of his feet as he raised his fists. He threw the first punch at Griff, who easily dodged it. Griff watched for the next opening, when Nat yelled a warning. "Griff, the veil!" His eyes shifted over to the road where the never-ending curtain was less than a dozen yards away and gaining ground. "Go back to the cave!" "Not without you!" He turned to look at her. "Go! I'll be right—" The blow caught him on the side of the head, knocking him momentarily dizzy, with the man's arm in reach. Griff reached up and grabbed it. There was no time for niceties. Flipping Taylor over his hip, he laid the man out on the ground. A hard jab to the guy's throat, and Taylor was out for the count. Griff turned to check to make sure Creed was still unconscious, when a pair of bloody hands closed around his neck and throat. Bryce dug his fingers into Griff's windpipe as the air around them began to swirl. With the veil advancing closer, he felt it pulling on him. A distinctive howl came from within the swirling wall, unlike anything he'd encountered in the past. Behind him, he heard Nat scream his name again. Grabbing the man's wrists, he threw his head forward, using it like a battering ram to pound the guy in the same place where Nat's hammer had struck. Bryce shuddered from the pain. His hold loosened around Griff's throat, and Griff took the opening to bring one of Bryce's arm around his back. A hard jerk upward, and the arm separated from the socket. The veil descended upon them, sucking the screaming man into its maw as it seemed to reach out for Griff. "Run, Nat, run!" He struggled to catch up with her, but his legs were having difficulty obeying his body's commands. Stiffly, he hobbled after her, watching her disappear through the slit in the cave. The veil snagged his back. Icy tendrils touched his bare skin, and the contact was like being hit with an electric shock. Ignoring the sharp pains jabbing every muscle in his body, Griff kept running, pushing himself, praying he'd make it before it swallowed him whole. He hit the edge of the rocky opening with enough force to disorient him. At the last second, he twisted his body and fell into the cave as the veil claimed this area of land for its own.